I want to welcome you to a very important project. My name is Jim Barber, and I'm representing the Bernardston Historical Society for this project of interviewing Russell Lawrence Deane. Today is August 30th, 2023, and Russ has invited us into his home for this purpose. Thanks for having us here, Russ.
Oh, you're welcome, I'm sure.
Always fun to be with you. I try to say that to you regularly.
Thank you.
You've lived a very full life, and I've enjoyed your stories, and I know many other people are going to enjoy your stories too. So why don't we begin at the beginning, and let's tell people where you were born and when, and who your immediate family members were, mom and dad, so forth.
Okay, well, I was born August 1st, 1928, and I was born in Bernardston, and I always, growing up, lived right on the corner of Gill Road and Turner's Falls Road.
Mm-hmm.
And my father was Charles Raymond Deane, and my mother was Gladys Raymond Deane, and she was a Raymond, and her parents were Grace and George Raymond, who lived on Turner's Falls Road. And my grandfather Deane was Charles Franklin Deane, and he lived in the center of Bernardston. His house was gone with 91. So, and let's see, I guess that's about it. I had a brother and a sister.
Okay.
And maybe you want to stop there?
No, that's okay.
My brother was Percy Deane, and my sister was Helen Louise Deane.
Yeah.
And they moved around, and I grew up all the time there and went to elementary school in East Bernardston. My teacher was Miss Richmond. I believe her name was Lillian Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught for many years. A very good teacher in those times. Real strict, but you could learn from her.
And the school was located where?
The school was located on Northfield Road, right at the intersection of Shed Road.
Okay.
On land that was owned by Mount Hermon School.
Okay. I should have said earlier that I'm here with Diane Deane Ellis, who's my wife and Russ's daughter. And so Diane from time to time may jump in with a question too and try to fill things out a little bit more. So one thing I heard is that you had nicknames when you were children.
Oh yeah.
And so how about you and your siblings? What were their nicknames?
My nickname was Rastus.
Rastus.
Yeah.
Okay.
How I got to be called Rastus, whether there was, I think there was somebody in the comic strips that was named Rastus at the time, and
okay.
Somebody started calling me that, and they called me that through elementary school. And then as I went to high school, Bill Shores was the only guy that kept calling me Rastus. And he kept calling me Rastus right up through the day he passed away. He'd call me Rastus. And that was okay. It didn't bother me a bit. That was okay.
Still brings a smile to your face. Yeah.
Yeah. And my education was only through high school and several different schools I'd go to for a week or 2 or 3, and then go back for another 2 or 3. So I got quite a little experience with maybe just enough to be dangerous with plumbing and electrical and heating.
Yeah.
And I was a builder.
Yeah.
Anyway, but in the meantime, all this, I'm jumping ahead, I guess.
That's okay.
I had 3 daughters. Diane, Nancy, and Sherry. Diane was the oldest. She was born in September of '51, and she went on to college and did a good job for herself teaching.
Yeah.
And she got married and I had 2 grandchildren, Ryan and Lindsay. And Nancy, she was the second born, and she was born in let's see, June of 1954.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a handicapped child with Down syndrome.
Yep.
And she did quite well. She lived quite a few years after they told us she wouldn't, and she got around, had a few jobs for an hour or two, and went out, and she passed away. Brother, I believe in
2010? Yeah.
2010.
Okay.
And then my youngest daughter, Sherry, she was born in May of 1960.
Mm-hmm.
And she went to college, and she is athletic director for the town of Ashford at the present time.
Yep.
And I guess that she had, let's see, 3 grandchildren.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see, let's see, that was Kayla and Corey and Sierra.
Right. So Diane, I think you had some questions that you wanted to ask, but trying to fill in the blanks right here. So why don't you ask your dad what you want to ask him?
Well, I was wondering if you remember, Dad, back to your great-grandparents and who they were.
Yeah, I think I do. My great-grandparents was on the Raymond side, on my mother's side. I remember being taken down to see them when I was a kid, and they lived in Montague, and it was Charles and Hattie. I think her name was Hattie, maybe it was Harriet, but they called her Hattie Fisk, and it had an E on the end of the Fisk. And I remember they had a bunch of kids too, and I remember one of them was Charles Fisk also, and he was a builder, same as I was, so we ran into each other occasionally.
Oh.
And so I remember that. And then my great grandfather died, and Hattie came and lived with my Aunt Hazel Deane just down below where I was born and brought up in the corner of West Gill and Gill Road, Connors Falls and Gill Road.
Yeah. So you had family all around you.
Yeah, and I do not know, oh yeah, my great grandfather Deane was Charles Webster Deane, and he lived right down below where I was brought up in the homestead that was called, it slipped me now the name of the homestead. It was Grandpa Deane's second wife, name of her name when she was married.
Oh, that was the name of the homestead.
That was the name of the homestead.
Mm-hmm.
But her name was Mary, and his was Charles Webster, and they lived there, and he lived to be almost 100.
Oh.
And I remember when I was little, I'd go down there, and when I was small, I'd say little, but I used to work for great Grandpa Deane and Uncle Henry down there. But we'll get into that at a different time.
Mm-hmm.
And Gramp would be working out in the field. And I never had much to do with it. She was quite religious, and so was he. Some, but she was doing all the teas and prayer meetings about every day around, and when I was little, and so they didn't have much to do with when we were little kids. Gramp, you had a lot of fun with Gramp sometimes, even though he'd use a rake behind you a little bit if you weren't doing what you're supposed to.
Well, we can get into more
On that.
family remembrances with grandparents and so forth. We skipped over one very important thing. You talked about your daughters, but not your wife. So tell us how you met Lillian.
I'm sorry about that.
And yeah,
That all goes back to my education, and she was and went to school after we got to over to Powers Institute. We was in the same class, and so after we got to be sophomores, we kind of paid attention to each other.
And her name was?
Her name was Lillian Elizabeth Flagg.
Yep.
And she
With
was,
2 G's.
there were 2 G's, and she was same age as I was, a little bit younger. She was born in December
okay.
27th to be exact,
Okay.
1928, and she was, I believe, born on Huckle Hill. That's where the Flagg homestead was, which is now part of the golf course.
Oh yeah.
That was all sold for the golf course. And there was she had a lot of brothers and sisters, I think 9 to be exact, but she lost her mother when she was, I believe, a sophomore or a junior in high school. And her older sister had left home, and she was the oldest girl home, so she more or less had to do all the homework and all the housework and take care of her brothers. Most of them were younger. One was still home that was older than her, but he left right away, and the rest of them were all younger. So she worked hard all her life, but she was a great commercial student, and she went to work doing bookkeeping for little brother. Slipped my name right now, but he ran a bookstore up where Wayne Shaw Furniture moved into. Up on the upper end of Main Street. Anyway, and then she left there and went to work for Roland Farr in Oldsmobile Cadillac GMC dealer, and he sent her to GMC commercial school, which it was nights and some days in Springfield, and she finished that and worked for him a long time.
So before all that, though, Diane tells me that you, I think, coached her on a ball team.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, during the same time, after we got married, even before we got married, we were.
Okay.
She was playing on a town team after we got out of high school.
Okay.
And they needed a coach. The girls needed a coach, so I said, "Sure, I'll coach you." And so they were good. We had quite a few married women on there before we got done, but they were good. And we had good luck. We beat everybody except one Pittsfield team. We'd go over there and get beat by about 2-3 baskets every time. We never quite did conquer them. And
Okay, so something else really important is who showed interest in who first between you and Lillian?
Oh, I don't know. Probably it was equal. Quick, you said something to the other. They were willing to do, and then Suki Deane,
Yeah.
Norma Deane, she was one of Lil's best friends,
Oh, okay.
and she would say, "You know, she likes you, don't you?" So that kind of
Encouraged you.
encouraged me to not shy away too far.
Good. Okay, I had to get that. I think there's more that we can have you share about Lillian. Give us a story, if you will, about your relationship with her.
Oh well, I was telling about going with her in school, and she was going to go out to Ohio and see her sister Doris,
Okay.
and she thought she might, if her sister would let her, she might stay out there. And we was in our junior year, I believe, in high school at the time, and I'd taken her to the movies with my parents once or twice,
Whoa.
and we'd been to basketball games together
Mm-hmm.
in the bus, on a bus with 20 other kids and that. And so one night I asked my dad if he would let me take the car. It was right in the middle of winter, and the roads weren't very good, slippery, and he finally agreed to let me take it. And she wouldn't get her chores done at home and get the milk and stuff washed up till probably close to 9 o'clock before I go out. So, of course, he let me take the car, and Mom says, "You gotta be home by 11. Oh yeah, okay, I will. I want to say goodbye to her before she goes, in case she don't come back."
Oh,
So I picked her up, and when she got the milk and stuff down, we come down what they call Snakeville Road at that time. It's called Chapin Road now in Bernardston.
okay.
I come around the corner right at the top of the hill, and the ass end of the car slewed around, slid into the frozen snowbank
Oh, sure.
right there. First time Dad ever let me take the car by myself.
Oh no.
So our first date didn't have much to do with it. We took her back home and said goodnight, and I took the car back.
Did
And
you
I
give her a
looked it
kiss?
all over, and I couldn't see any dent in the fender,
Yeah.
and I was hoping just the bumper. But I told Dad all about it the next night. I didn't see him that night. He'd long gone to bed when I got home.
Mm.
But of course he found a little dent in it, and but things was all right. He knew the roads were slippery and that, and I told him I weren't going fast in this thing. So that was our first date that just she and I went out alone.
Did you kiss her goodnight though?
Yeah, I did that. I kissed her goodnight with about 7 brothers watching.
Well, you were brave, and so was she. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a great story, Russ.
We didn't have an awful lot. Dad didn't make an awful lot of money. He was working part-time jobs, and he worked for the state, but if he could pick up jobs, the state was laying off summertime then, and so he'd have off about a month during the summertime, and he'd have other people get in the hay and that, and earn a little more money. But I know he's bringing home $18 a week
Mm-hmm.
for his pay back then, and I knew that we didn't do much. We would, our summer trips in the summertime, he'd take us all for a ride, generally on a Sunday afternoon, and we'd pack a picnic lunch, and we'd stop someplace where there was a view or a pond or a lake that we could look into, and throw down a blanket and eat our sandwiches.
What do you have for a car?
He had, the one I remembered was Hudson's.
Uh-huh.
And that was back at the time they were changing from stick shift to an automatic shift, and this one would go either way by flipping a switch.
Okay. Oh.
And it would go like a devil.
Yeah.
And he had that, and after he traded that, he had a old Packard
Yeah.
that went there. And why I remember that he had got $18 a week was when he traded that car, his payment per month was $19 a month. And Mom had to save $1 somewhere along the line out of the other pays to make the payment for the, she did all the
Yeah.
stuff Dad did, and
Yeah.
Dad would give her $5 a week to buy groceries.
Mm-hmm.
She had to get enough money out of that to buy us a pair of shoes once in a while.
Mm.
And we always had to put the rubber stickers on the bottom of our shoes when they wore through. When you went to school, they'd come loose and you'd go along flopping them to the teachers. They'd snap. Anyway, but we'd have clam bakes sometimes. Dad would put clam bakes on for different people. And on a Sunday out to Henry's Pond.
Okay.
And us kids would go out there and that. But we learned to wash clams and check clams for live ones and that. But we never did go dig them.
Okay. Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, well, at first it was, till you had to do it. You know, a lot of things are fun till you have to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did a lot of people show up at these clam bakes?
We generally have somewhere around 30,
Oh yeah.
25 to 30.
So Ralph and his kids?
You know, Ralph always did his own. He'd do a bake where they do them in the ground.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put 'em and do them with stones.
Yeah.
You heat the stones first and around the barrel, and I used to help him some too. But Dad would steam them, and you'd have your potatoes and your chickens. You'd put chickens in with them, and potatoes, and clams, and sometimes sausages, and that. But he always would put in a can. The old roasters would be full and put it on a fire pit. And each corner he'd put a potato right in the very top, and then as I remember, he'd only put a quart of water in the bottom for some reason.
Wow.
And they was up on a metal grate about that high. I remember that.
Okay.
And the clams were always in the bottom. He used to put them all right in there, but when they do a bake, they put them in different bags.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Cheesecloth bags, but
Yeah.
he always did them right in the boiler pan. And when those 2 potatoes was done, everything was done.
That's
okay.
the purpose of
And,
the potatoes.
Yeah.
And then you dig them out. Then you'd have melted butter that you dip your clams in, and generally most of them would put a little vinegar in them with the butter.
Oh yeah.
Some wouldn't, but all the old guys would.
Yeah.
And nothing for one person to eat a peck of clams if you gave
Wow.
back that time. Well, I wouldn't believe how anybody could do it.
Did you end with watermelon?
Oh yeah, I always had watermelon afterwards and that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, and they always had beer. Yeah, but anyway,
That sounds like fun.
yeah, them about the only one time, Mom and Dad wanted to take a little trip up into New Hampshire and come down into up into Vermont and come down through New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was gonna be had to stay over one night, and they consented to let Lil go with me,
Oh.
and so she went with us, and Dad and I got a cabin, and Mom and Lil got a cabin.
Oh.
Sure. What about the war years? What memories come to mind about life and.
Well, it was pretty scary. Everything was rationed. You didn't have any gas. You didn't go many places. You didn't have to.
Yep.
Because the gas was pretty short. And we had a few cattle on the farm, few cows and pigs. And so Dad had a tractor, so he did have a agriculture thing, and we'd have about, I don't know, something like 15 gallons of gas a month maybe,
Okay.
that we could, stickers that you could use for gas. And so we had a little gas for the farm tractor, so we could run that. And that was about it. And other than what Dad had, they'd give you a little bit beside to go back and forth to work.
Yeah.
Of course, Mom didn't work. She stayed home, took care of the kids. And that, but I remember we'd have blackouts, and we'd have to pull all the shades. And I was at towards the tail end of it. You have the blackouts, and I was a constable, and we'd have to be out watching for planes nights, and if you saw one, you had to call in to the station, and they had a lookout station in Bernardston up by the antique barn, right out in the center of town. That seemed to be manned 24 hours.
Yeah.
On that. But I never did do that, but I did plenty of others that they used to have somebody on. They tried to have somebody on most intersections where there's good view.
Yeah.
A good view of different areas, sky views.
Yeah.
And you're looking for planes?
Looking for planes, yeah. If you heard a plane, if you just heard him, and even though maybe you couldn't see him, you reported that you'd heard one.
Yeah.
You was hearing one where you thought it was. But I didn't get in service. Later on, when I could have gone into service, I'd had polio. So they didn't take me. But that's another subject.
Didn't you say something about rationed butter? And they made some awful kind of butter that...
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah, if you never had that butter. But the butter you're getting today is pretty bad.
Tell us about the butter that you got.
Back then it was like lard.
Oh.
You had a little package of something, I don't know what it was orange. You dumped it into that, and then you stirred and stirred and stirred, and pretty quickly it'd all be orange and look like butter, or yellow, whichever you want to call it. Butter, but this was more orange. And what the devil did they call it? Margarine?
Okay.
Maybe margarine.
All right.
I can't remember. And boy, but that was terrible stuff. It was just like nothing. But if you had a little bit of, once in a while we'd have enough milk left over, and you could scoop the cream off, and because back then when we had a cow, you'd strain the milk through a strainer, right into a pan, and then we generally had Jersey cows, and the cream would come right up on top of the milk, and you could pick it right up with a fork when you had good cream.
Yeah.
And then you could get that, and you could stir it into butter.
Yeah.
And you'd make your own butter.
Yep.
And
that was delicious.
Oh, that was good stuff. But boy, you better not get caught putting too much of it on your toast. At a time.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember Dad hated that margarine stuff. If you could,
Say a little bit more about your polio experience.
That was in 1951.
Which was the year Diane was born.
The year Diane was born.
Yeah.
That joins in with some other stuff, but okay.
That's okay.
Lil was pregnant with her when I come down with polio.
You were running the gas station.
In August, I was running the gas station, and my brother-in-law, Doug Flagg, he would work for me sometimes Sunday afternoon, so I get an afternoon off, because I was working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that didn't give me much other time. And he was working for me, and a kid by the name of Lenny Eastman, which you've all heard of, who was a prisoner of war for several years. And he worked for me when I had the polio. And I was in a hospital in Greenfield in isolation. Let's see, Dr. Lowe
Yes.
was the doctor
Yep.
who had polio himself.
I remember that. Yep.
And when I got out, I think I was there somewhere around a month, maybe not quite that long. I ended up with one leg a lot shorter than the other, but I did live. And they finally kept lifts on that after to keep my back from getting worse.
Yeah.
I went until my back went, but my leg was so weak. I tried several jobs afterwards that I couldn't do because I couldn't push the clutches in the bigger trucks. It was all still shift and not automatic.
Yeah.
Did you have to go on the iron lung with polio?
I was not in the lung. I was in some crazy thing, but it wasn't an iron lung.
Oh.
No. But they, I remember the hurting part of it when they drew fluid from my spine.
Oh yeah, the spinal
was,
taps.
There was 3 nurses holding me while Dr. Lowe drew. I didn't think he'd ever stop. I thought my top of my head was coming right out with it. He was sucking it right down through. And they said, we can't give you nothing. You gotta take it. And I thought when he stopped the first time, he had enough, but that weren't true. But
yeah. It's okay, Russ.
there's one thing more I gotta add in there.
Yeah.
2 things. I gotta have some fun about it. My nurse was Norma Beth Steele, her name was, and she was Squeaky Stern's girlfriend over to Northfield, and he and I were buddies, and he would come and sit outside the window and could talk to me from outside, and wait nights for her to get through work to come. Well, we was in the old isolation part of the hospital down there, and it was a separate building from the hospital.
In Greenfield?
Yes.
Yes.
And they'd get bats in there sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And she was scared to death of bats. And she'd come running, and one night he was sitting outside talking to me, and a bat was flying all around him. And she says, "It's after me, it's after me, it's after me." He comes screaming right into the room and jumped right into bed, trying to get her head coming up. But that, he's laughing. The bat had gone down the hall. I hadn't come in my room at all. But anyway, I think it was the next day that I was getting out.
Yeah.
And when I got the bill, I had to take the bill down to the Greenfield postmaster. He was the guy in charge of polio. And I don't remember how much it was. It was scary, and the only way I could have paid it would have been maybe $50 a month.
Yeah.
But the polio Foundation paid it all.
They covered it.
They paid it all. I
Oh
didn't
boy.
pay anything.
That's
The only
great.
thing I paid was, I think, was a $46 bill that come in afterwards.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
So your body was protected and your finances.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
So I always contributed real good to
Yeah. Yeah.
nice to know that
Well,
they helped out.
well, you know that some funds do what they're made for.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, Dad, you said Nan died in 2010, but I think it was to August 10th of 2011.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I got the 10 in there, but it's on the wrong day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when she was born, it must have been a little hard to hear all the things the doctors had to say about having a Down syndrome child.
Yes, it was hard. And they told us, first they said that most of them passed away by the time they were 2 years old.
Oh.
And that you couldn't tell how long she might live, but most of them passed away by the time they were 2 years old. And, but she fooled them all.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
She was well into her 50s.
that's right. And
Wow.
we had a little tough time when we was going to church and that, and when we had the nanny, and the reverend there didn't seem to know, I don't believe, too much about Down syndrome
Sure.
or whatever they call these people, and he told us that she will really affect the life of our other children, and they just won't accept her, and they may go away and this and that we should take her and put her in an institution and try to forget about that.
Wow.
Well, that's when
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and I
Yeah.
prayed a lot, but left the church for a while,
Okay.
Oh.
and then we went back, and
Mm.
we never thought of doing that at all. And so we buckled down, particularly Mom.
Yeah.
And she says, we got to do something, not only for her, but for all people like her.
Yeah.
And we had some people tell us about books to read. And so there's one in particular that was great.
Hmm.
And it really helped us a lot. And that was a book that Dale Evans wrote.
I was going to say Dale Evans.
Okay.
And after you read that, you accepted Nan as one of God's children.
Yep.
Yes.
And as Mother used to say, she was a lot more joys than she was sad.
Yes.
And we had a lot of fun
Mm-hmm.
with her, and my other children accepted her.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they took some harassing at times at schools, like all kids are mean to the other kids.
Yeah.
And well, their parents that accepted her, and they accepted her into Girl Scouts and everywhere else, because we had friends in that and all these things. And things went on, and she grew.
And she was such a great swimmer.
Oh yeah. She could have won a lot of trophies because she went a lot with other Down syndrome kids swimming, but you could not convince her to swim on top. She had to go down to the bottom, wherever she was, and
Swim underwater.
swim underwater. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
she wouldn't stay on top like you try to get her to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, she got pretty heavy in the front,
Sure.
and so it was.
Yeah. She also did bowling. Quite a
Oh,
bit
yeah.
of bowling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She bowled. But,
And for as far as school went, she had to move around to a lot of different schools, I recall, because they'd stop the program or there wouldn't be enough kids in it.
yeah, yeah. And then Mother started the first one, and that was down at where the downstairs in the hospital building where they had isolation. If you
Oh.
was in isolation, down in the basement of there,
Okay.
they let them use that. And Mom started the first nursery, I think it was.
Preschool, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but wasn't it a struggle all the way up through?
Oh, all the way. all the way.
making sure she had chance to go to school.
Yeah, and well, at first they say you got to go to the town and tell them they got to start a program. They got to start a program. Well, I'd been selectmen and officers in the town and that, and it was kind of tough to go before the town and tell them you needed money to start a program to send your kid to.
Yeah.
And but finally, between us, Mother went. She went to the town, and they were very graceful and agreed to do it, and they did start a program, and Nan went to school here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And then you were part of a larger organization, ARC, is that correct?
Yeah.
Association for Retired Citizens.
Yes, and then I was appointed by Governor Volpe to the 3 counties, Franklin, Hampshire,
Yeah.
and Hamden,
Yeah.
and went down there, and I was chairman of that for I think 3 years. And man, that was just too much. You try to run,
Run a business.
Sure.
try to work besides and that. But
Yeah.
anyway, we got a lot of things started, and we have people now come and tell you
Still.
they want to know
Yeah.
how you knew, how they knew. I know, and Mom passed. My daughter asked how these people knew her parents and how they knew me.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, because what your parents done
Yeah.
helped out my kids a lot.
Yeah.
My kids don't
Yeah.
have to go through that now because the program is going
Yeah.
and operating quite well.
Yeah.
But back then we had to fight to get every dollar from the state, and you'd borrow money from the bank and agree to pay them back because the state says, well, you'll have the money to pay them back at a certain time. Well, you wouldn't get it, and you wouldn't get it, and you wouldn't get it, and you keep going by and by. And then the banks would say, we can't give you any more until we take care of that last time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then you'd get on your representative some more, and finally you'd get some and give it to the bank, and
Yeah.
eventually they'd give you some more.
Yeah.
And then Herb Alma and I, there was this motel coming up for sale. Guy went bankrupt on Silver Street, and Herb Alma and I bought it together and had him turn it into, I think it was 6 apartments downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And we tried making it into an up and down, but so there's apartments both places, but didn't work. The apartment had to be up and down, and that worked out good. A lot of kids went in there and had their own with supervision all the time, but you could have 2 people in the apartment, and they went and they grew, and
So it allowed them to have independent living,
independent living,
which was
right.
good for their families and good for them.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but that took a long time.
Yeah.
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 And the
And then you bought the house on Davis Street, and
Yes, that was Mrs. Grout's house, and we finished off the upstairs for that, and we sold it to the Ark, or gave it to the Ark, gave them the money to buy it from me, but Nan could live in there as long as she lived and was able to, if something happened to Mom and I.
Oh, yeah.
And they had some other people in there too with another person, supervisor. And eventually Nan couldn't stay there, so that's when they had to pay for the house.
Yeah.
And Nan went to live in Hastings Street.
yeah,
Okay.
she needed a little more supervision
Yes, she had
at
to
that
have,
time,
she had to
so-
have 24 at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and that's where she stayed until she passed away.
Well, you did a lot of work. You started this whole conversation saying how much you prayed,
Oh yeah.
and obviously God worked as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of his special children.
Yeah.
And you felt privileged, really, that you had the opportunity
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah. Like it was a calling. You were asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
It was kind of nice that Nan was very sociable.
Yeah.
And and Dad, Mom are very sociable, and she was just friendly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We have to, as long as we got into this so deep, we have to tell some funny things about Nan too.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, a couple things.
Sure.
Of course, when we had this house here, we had all, at that time, carpets on the floor. Well, you didn't have to do much. If you touched somebody, you'd get a shock.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, Bob Eddy used to come here quite a bit. He worked for me. And Nan just loved going across on the floor. He was bald-headed, felt like you. And she just loved going up and touching his ear or touching his bald head and hear it snap.
And give him an electric shock.
Give him a shock. And it was funny. And then another funny thing that we always had laughed about. My other daughter, Sherry, she had a couple of boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, Lincoln was here, and the next day, can't think for sure what his name was, but I think it was Bob something. And Nanny says to her sister, when he's sitting there, she says, "Why don't you let me have Bob, and you can have Lincoln, the one that was here last night?" Because that went over like, you know, a dead balloon and with her sister. And I think after he left, if we hadn't been there, there might have been quite a fight. But anyway, so there was a lot of laughs. Yeah.
Well, and I've heard of Nanisms, things that she would say, the way she would say them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She would always. Well, her mother wouldn't allow the kids to tell each other to shut up.
Okay.
They had to tell them you can be quiet or that, but you don't tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
And if any of the kids told Nan to shut up, she would run out to her mother and say, "Sherry, just call me a shut up."
He called me a shut up.
Yeah.
Well, the one I've heard that I liked is when something exciting was going to happen and she wanted you to know about it, she would say something like, "You're going to be flipped, Diane."
Yeah,
Oh,
you're gonna be
You're going to
flipped.
be flipped.
Yeah, yeah. She always said that too. You're gonna be flipped.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Well, Russ, one thing we all remember and experience when we're young and growing up is what holidays were like, the celebration and those kind of things. What kind of memories of that do you have?
Huh. Oh, when I was a kid growing up, let's see, holidays. Mainly the ones I remember, or think back to remember, was 4th of July and Christmas. 4th of July, I always remembered. My dad was a constable at that time, and he always had to be out the night before. So the next day, we had to be pretty quiet. He was out all night, because the next morning he'd be sleeping. But we generally had a few caps. We could have caps, and we had a gun, but we could put only one cap in it at that time. Eventually we had one we could stick a roll of caps in,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd pop off. And we finally got some, I think they're about 1.5 inch long little candle-like firecrackers. We thought we was when we could, and they had some stuff they called, I think they called it punk. It was on a stick like that you could light, and then you blow on it, and it'd be fire there, and you could stick the thing onto it, because we wouldn't let us have matches to light the thing.
Oh, okay.
Because it was pretty easy to light the wick a lot closer, and that's how they used to claim you'd blow up your fingers because you wouldn't get rid of it quick enough. And at that time, we weren't supposed to hang on to them and light them anyway. You put it down on the ground and stick the punk on it and it'd blow. Well, then we had to put a tin can over it and see if it'd blow the can and those things. But
That was all in at your house, in your yard?
that was all in our yard, yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie Deane down the road, my cousin, he had a little gun that you could pump, but you put a roll of paper in it, and somehow or other it'd make that paper would be pretty tight, but it would make it pop just as loud as almost as the capture that we used to.
Yeah.
But we always sort of wish we could have one of those. Wish we could have one.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was the only kid down there, and he had that. He let us use it though. For that. Christmas, I always remember Christmas. We always went. Seemed like we always went to Grandma Raymond's house for Christmas night. We always had Christmas to home in the morning, and then at night, quite often we'd go to Grandma's for Christmas dinner too. And but we always went there. Everybody came to Grandma Raymond's house at night, and she made the popcorn balls and that. And the men always played cards, and us kids and the women would stay in the parlor, and they had a pump piano, and we either pump the piano and sing the songs that they had the rolls for.
Oh, yeah.
And that's about what we were doing until we got older. And then once in a while, they were missing a man to play, then they let one of us kids learn. They always were playing pitch or Petey, and that's how we learned to play cards when I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And but I always remember that.
So did your parents have a gift for you in the morning? Or Santa Claus come, or?
Yeah, they most always did, and we had our stockings up, and sometimes maybe in the stocking or something. We most always, what you got was clothes to wear. Yeah, you might, when you got a little old, not older, but a little bigger or a little older, yeah, you might get one toy, but in your stocking, you generally got a orange, an apple, and a tube of toothpaste, or something like that. That's what you generally got in your stocking.
Yeah.
And maybe some other things if they could, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
They had a tough time too.
Yeah.
Did you make anything for your parents
No.
when you were a kid?
The only thing. No way. Oh, yeah, that's later on. I made a cupboard. But, but one thing I remember when I was growing up, and I never forgot it. I wanted to buy everybody something, and Dad gave me a quarter to buy everybody something. And I had to get my brother and sister and Dad and my mom something out of that quarter. Well, I remember I bought my brother and my sister and my dad 3 of those little figurines that cost me a nickel a piece. And I got a bigger one for my mother that cost 10 cents.
Oh.
So what would they be figurines of? Characters from
Little
movies?
characters, probably Santa Claus. Little,
Oh, okay.
probably
Yeah, yeah.
Santa Claus or an elf
I see.
in that little.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I always remember that.
Mom ranked a little higher on the list than the rest of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Great.
great stories. Yeah.
So that's mainly what I remember mostly about.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, we quite often had at our house, and somebody would be coming there. Easter, we always went to Grandma Grace's, seems like. And Grandma Grace was Grandpa Frank's, or my dad's mother.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's mother was Grandma Grace.
Mm.
Grandpa Frank and Grandma Grace. And they lived, their house was gone with a 91. But I can see her now and see the smoke. She would cook eggs in the grease, and the grease, the house would be so full of smoke you couldn't survive.
Oh.
She would always cook eggs. She had all kinds of grease in a skillet. And they were covered with grease now that they'd say would kill you if you was eating it. You know? But we ate it then and we're still alive. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's about
yeah.
mostly.
Okay. I think you've told us a little bit about how you worked for family members when you were younger, but let's switch gears to your jobs and career until you finally started your own business. Tell us whatever you want about jobs you had leading up to when you started your business.
Yeah. Well, I worked for Uncle Henry quite a bit, farming there.
Yeah.
And back then I was small, and he was giving me a job. I'd probably 10 or a dozen, and he taught me how to drive the horse, and we'd cultivate. I could drive the horse while he held the cultivator, and that. And he'd give me 10 cents an hour, and I'd chop when I got a little bigger, and maybe 14, might have been 15. I'd chop. He burnt little wood in the kitchen stove, and he'd give me a job to chopping up the small wood that would go in his kitchen stove. And it might have been a quart of wood there or two, and if I chopped it up, I think I got $5 to each one if I cut up a quart and that. And then my brother got me a job over to Mount Herman, and I could get a quarter an hour over there. And I drove the horses over there for Sylvester. He was a nice guy. Yeah. And went with Cub Hale, and sometimes he would be delivering milk and ice over there.
Oh.
And I'd help them. He'd come get me, and that helped me get out of pulling weeds for old Tabor. And then I'd go with Charlie Raymond, who was my mother's brother.
Yeah.
He was a plumber over there.
Oh.
I'd help him so. And then I went I worked a little while at Mills Falls too. Got a job there. I went to my uncle's gas station to start with when I was going to high school. The last 2 years of high school. I worked nights after school and weekends for him. And then when I got done, he wanted to sell out right after he got married. And so I borrowed the money off my wife's boss.
Oh.
Did I tell you this before?
I don't think so.
I borrowed the money off of him. And I think
Farr?
that was Roland Farr. She was bookkeeper for him. He ran the Oldsmobile Cadillac garage.
Oh yeah.
And I finally asked her if she would ask him if he might loan me the money. And he said he said he would if my father would sign the note with me. And so he did. He agreed to do it. but he told me he wanted an inventory once a month.
Whoa.
Every month he wanted an inventory to see what I had. Well, I don't know if you ever took an inventory every month. It's a killer to take it once a year. Well, of course, a lot of things never changed in that month too.
Yeah.
You know. But I did it and turned it into him. And he also, when I was gonna pay him, he said, don't pay me quite that much. Pay me that much in the summertime. He says, I ran a gas station once, and he says, and sometimes in the winter it's pretty hard to make any payments.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was right. But we paid him and got it. We got through and paid it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after I had polio, I got out of that, and I was tried selling insurance, and that would go. That you could do, but you didn't have any family life. You had to be out. Everybody you wanted to see, you had to wait till they got home from work. You had to go nights, so you didn't have any family. So I didn't like that. And so I went down and helped Streeters. Wendell gave me a job learning to cut meat. And so I worked for Streeters store for a while. And I was building my own house. And some guys helped me frame it because they'd built my brother's house and framed his house. He said, have him frame your new house and get you out, because I'd had polio and I weren't too strong at that time. So they did. And when I was in Streeters working, this was probably a couple of years afterwards, they had framed my first house. They come in there and said, what are you doing in there? And so I told them, they said, why don't you come to work for me? They said, we're going to be building a house right up the road here. I said, I'd love that. And so I said, but I got to give Wendell a couple of weeks notice. And they said, that's about when we're going to start. And I said, okay. So I did that, and Wendell said, okay. And so I went to work for them, and they helped me. And when we got that out, they were from Brattleboro. Johnson and Eddie, their names were, there's two guys together. Then after a little while, Johnson left, and I worked with them. And then Eddie's brother was building expensive houses out in Pennsylvania. He wanted his brother to come out and help him. So he told us we was all going to be laid off in about 2 weeks. So the last day we was there, Bob Lee was the guy that was working there. He was a good carpenter there, very good. Knew quite a bit about hall carpentering and was very good. And I said to him, I said, I think I can find some work in Bernardston if you want to help me. And he says, yeah, I'll help you. So I looked around a little bit, and the next day after we got laid off was a Saturday. We got laid off Friday, and I had arranged to pour cement for Raymond Clark over on Northfield Road. And we was doing that, and I'd passed around town with a few guys I knew that we was going to be starting work on our own. And Myron Barber stopped in when we were there that day pouring that concrete, and he had a big house out back, and he was framing back of his other house. And wanted to know if we'd come and frame that up and put siding on it, and so we went right there. The next one I think we went pretty near 10 years before we had any time that we didn't have work.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Dad, what happened to the gas station though? Did you sell it when you left that?
The gas station, I went out of there and I sold the inventory that I had. The people that was running it was city service up where the Sunoco station is now.
Yeah.
City service was up there.
Okay.
And I think Jim McCrae, I think, and somebody else was running that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Mel Rice somehow got a hold of that station or owned that station. And they wanted Tidal. They wanted to get out of there because he was going to kind of remodel that. So Shike, who I bought the first station from,
Yep.
my uncle, he went into there,
Yes.
back into there, and went to selling fuel oil too.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And so he says, why don't you come right up there with me? We'll bring your inventory right up there. And we'll sell them what's in the tank, in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sold them what was in the ground.
I see.
Took my inventory up to the other place. And then I worked there for maybe a year and a half.
I see.
And I was going nowhere there.
Yeah.
And he was making pretty good money with the oil business.
Yeah.
And I was running the gas station. He was never there. And so I decided it's time to get out of there.
Well,
That's when I went to Streeter store.
Yeah. Okay.
well, it seemed like the combination between you and Bob Lee was a good one.
Yes, it was. He was a good man. He would show me a lot of things back when we worked for Eddie, you know. I remember one time he was working in a lawyer's office up there, and his daughter hung and put the lock set in. Well, I got the door hung. He said, put the lock set in. And I said, geez, I don't know about boring any edge for that lock. He said, go ahead, you're never going to learn if you don't do it. Well, I learned pretty quick there because I come out the side of the door. So, you know.
That's great.
Yeah, and that. But anyway.
Yeah. So we have a book in front of us here. Your daughter Diane gave you a special gift on your 95th birthday. Why don't you two talk about that a little bit?
Well, I wanted to lift up all the places you've built and that I could possibly remember, with the idea that we could add to it. And also all the nice people that you worked with. And
Oh.
so maybe this will help us just to recall. This is just an introduction to your birthday. But some of the people that worked for you
Oh,
are listed here. I called it the Hall of Fame.
I think it is. Most everyone that worked for us were good people. If they weren't, they didn't last.
Yeah.
Either one of the other of us would tell them, this really isn't for you, you should try something else.
Yeah.
Or for a different one. And it went good. And we had, particularly people that lasted a long time with us were Bob Franklin, for one. He went to Florida, I think 3 different times. He was going to go on his own in Florida. And he come back, and we gave him a job back. So if you give them a job back, you know they were pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Bud Hastings, we hated to see him go, but he went on his own. John Nabowski, he stayed for quite a while. He finally went on his own. Dave Powers, he stayed a long time. Yeah, he was great. Bob Eddy, he left and went to work for George Dole. Yeah. And Mitch Clark, he worked for quite a while for me. He went on his own. Kenny Hill, same thing. He went out. They all was learning the trade, but they stayed 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mitch Clark, he went on his own, I guess. Eddie Marinick, poor guy, he passed away coming to work one morning.
Oh.
and that. And we just had all kinds of good help. Gee, boy, Kenny Rose, he was gem. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, some people may, well, let's start with houses that you built. Just in Bernardston, your best estimate is how many houses that you built here?
I think we built right around 40.
About 40 houses,
Yeah.
just in Bernardston.
Yeah, maybe one or two more or one or two less.
Yeah. But you built them elsewhere.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Coleraine, I know you've talked about, and Leiden, and
Yeah, and and Vermont, we built quite a few in Brattleboro,
yeah,
Putney,
yeah,
and up in Townsend,
oh yeah,
and then going over the mountain into Hogback,
right,
up Wilmington.
yeah.
Yeah, we built houses up there
Mm-hmm.
and up around the snow area. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so those that are watching on video, if you want the full experience of Russ's life, this book would help you a lot to see what they're looking at.
Oh yeah, and we did a lot at Marlborough College. Not only did we build several of the dormitories,
Right,
the dormitories were small, maybe would house 12 to 24 kids.
yeah,
You know, some of them would 12 on the first floor and 12 on the second floor, and and then we built several of those, and then we remodeled the music building and added on part to the music building. But we also built a library, which was a good size, in the science building. They were big projects for us. And yeah, and we would, about every other year or every 2 years, they would have a project which would last just about a year.
yeah,
Wow.
Just
Yeah.
about a year. And
And it wasn't always in good weather.
oh no,
You
we-
worked
tremendous
in
cold.
the cold.
In that, up there, if anybody's been to Wilmington, up there, there's nothing to have snow still left behind the buildings in July.
Oh.
wow,
That's when we used to have winter, so
yeah, exactly.
they
yeah.
get snow every day. But it's good, we would go up there, and there's very few days you couldn't make it. Sometimes they'd have
Yeah.
Molly Stock Trail there closed off. You couldn't go up because of the snow.
Yeah. And
But
you did, go ahead.
I also attended a few classes in different schools for cabinet making and kitchens, designing kitchens and making cabinets, and also heating and plumbing
Oh yeah.
seminars. And
Did you travel for those, or was it local, or?
yeah, most of them was in New York.
Okay.
Most of those was in New York.
Yeah.
And they were good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked them. If you wanted to learn, you could. If you didn't care, you could just go and have it charged off to your company, I guess.
Yeah.
You could learn there, and I think I did. You know,
Good.
because
Sure.
we were doing our own
Yeah.
and learned a little bit. Yeah.
When you did other commercial projects, so you just in town here.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did a lot on Muchmores. We put the big
Yep.
addition on Muchmores, and which is now Zeke's. And we also built Mohawk Plastics, where what's the name is. We put the big addition onto that.
Right.
And
Andy St. Hilaire.
Andy St. Hilaire's, and we also built the motel for Andy St. Hilaire there
Right.
at the same
Grump and
place.
Fox and the Fox Inn.
Grump and Fox Inn, yeah. We built that. So,
And then I think you've said that when Andy got a separate building for his cup production, you also worked on that.
oh yeah, we remodeled that over in Ware, Mass.
Okay.
We remodeled that, and
Mm-hmm.
that was quite a ordeal. And we also built Greenfield Savings Bank on Federal Street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we built that also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, and we used to,
Um,
yeah.
the co-op bank, right?
Yes.
Not the
Co-op.
savings, but the
No.
co-op.
Greenfield Co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so Lee and Deane Builders, you retired from Lee and Deane? Is that correct or not?
Yes, I did. We had an auction.
Okay.
We had an auction and sold out, and then I bought Bob Lee out.
I see.
After that, and then I just retired from there and sold that building.
Your own version of retirement.
Yeah,
You're still working.
I know. We sold that building to
Yeah.
GBI?
the
GB.
GBI, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that building was on South Street.
and that was on South Street, now where Kringle Candle is.
Yeah.
And he added on to that, and after he bought it from me,
Mm-hmm.
Skip Hammond, and he was a great guy. And he allowed me to operate in the back, right in, I think, for about 5 or 6 years after we sold him the building, or
Okay.
longer, might even been longer than that.
Okay.
And he worked around us and that, and it was great. He was a great guy.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's
That's a good place to
and
stop.
now, okay.
Do you feel like we're missing anything on your career? And
I was just going to say that I started my own shop, and that burned up in '06.
Yeah,
do you
and-
want to talk about that?
Yeah,
You
what
can.
happened after that? The whole town came.
Yeah,
You
and
can talk about that.
okay, and well, I started my own shop to home when I retired from up there,
Yeah.
and we built that, and I was working there. I had my own shop, and things were going along pretty good. And all of a sudden, I think it was in '06, February '06, somebody beating on my window in the middle of the night. And I remember I rolled over and I yelled down, "What the hell you want?" And they said, "Your shop's on fire." And I piled out of bed, and sure enough, it was all aglow.
Wow.
And they were yelling to shut the electricity off that went up to the shop.
Oh, yeah.
So I tore down, and I can remember Northfield's chief was here. Then he came in the house and went down cellar. Well, come into the garage and went down cellar and shut the electricity off that went up to the shop. And then I got some pants on and went out, and there was just practically nothing left. And somebody from 91 had seen the fire and
Yeah.
called it in.
Yeah.
And the guy beating on my door was Donnie Slocum's son
Okay.
that
Hmm.
was beating on the window trying to rob me and that.
Hmm.
And well, I had quite a discussion with my son-in-law at that time, Gordon Ellis, and I says, "I guess, Joe, the good Lord is telling me it's time to quit. I'm old enough to quit, that I shouldn't do that." And I remember what he said. He said, "Dad, the good Lord would not do anything like that." He says, "It must have been an accident somewhere or something." He said, "He wouldn't do that." So I decided I would build it back. And seemed like everybody in town showed up to help me build that back. And I think, one day there was 20-some people here that the women around and my wife was trying to feed out here
Yeah.
beside the pool. And it was warm in February too. might have been March or April by the time we was doing
Sure, sure.
that. And but it was warm, I remember that. And there was 6 of those guys that used to work for me that had gone on their own,
Yeah,
which made you feel pretty good.
of course.
It could have been too bad a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they thought I was at times.
Well, they had to work hard, that's
I
for sure.
wasn't the easiest guy to work for, which I know.
But the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. When they showed up, that told you something, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's still up there now, and
Yeah.
they finally said it was electrical that it started on fire. The wind was blowing like you couldn't believe it.
Okay.
And you still go up there pretty much every day and
Oh,
do
yeah.
some project or other.
Yeah, yeah,
Right now, we've done quite a few cutting boards,
Mhm.
and they are beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah. And right now, that's about all you can do. I can't. My arms have given out, and I can't pick up anything very heavy, much above my waist, and so I can't get a hold of a piece of plywoods and
yeah.
stuff to cut them. But I do cut boards, and I got a call the other day and asked me if I had any kids' toy boxes left that I made, and they want to know if I could make a couple more. And the lady that's want this, I think has bought 6 off me.
Oh,
Well, Rush, have lived, as we've said before, a full life, busy life. You had family responsibilities that everyone had, but you had challenges with Nan and so forth, and busy business. But in the midst of all that, you still were very active in your community, and in one way, you were involved in politics. So why don't you share a little bit about what you did there through the years?
Okay. Maybe I'll go with the church first, okay?
You can talk about the church, sure. Yep.
Since I did mention church about Nan, I think,
Yeah,
when we kind of pulled away from church after what the minister had said.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we did go back. We were convinced to come back. And we got involved very much in our church here in Bernardston, the United Church of Bernardston now.
Yeah.
And we got involved, and I was on a deacon and on the property and finance for several years. And we worked in there, and I was clerk of the works as they started. I got real involved when they wanted to put up an addition or build a new church.
Yeah.
And that got voted, the new church got voted down, and they vote to add on to the church we already had.
Right.
And so we went there, and I'd done quite a lot of building, and they put me on as head of the building committee, and we added on to the church, and we stayed involved right along, and I stayed on property and finance. And we got the church built for quite a lot underestimated cost, because I could use or got a lot of contractors that did work for us through the years to give some pretty good prices to build a church.
Nice.
George Dole built the church, most of it, but we did a lot of the interior finishing. And then with the second edition, we did do changing the stairway entrance to
Okay.
the center of the church, to a center aisle entrance. And so we did that, and I stayed involved from then on. And just the last few years, I am off the property and finance, but we also started the gas engine show. Bud Street and I started that. And I don't remember exactly now, but I think it was, we just had one, what was it, 38 years, 40? Pretty,
oh,
I think it was 47 is what I remember,
Yeah.
but I may be wrong
I
with
think
that.
it's up there pretty
yeah,
high.
it is.
And well, I was chairman of that up till my wife convinced Bob Allen to take it over.
Yeah,
Thank God.
yeah,
And that was the first time that we'd had Memorial Day, Memorial Weekend off for 40 years.
Wow.
Anyway, but that was a big fundraiser for the church.
It started as just a tag sale, right?
Tag sale, correct.
Yeah.
And it was on where the pot shop is now.
Yeah.
And the church, that was owned by, when it started, was owned by Liam Nelson. And then, anyway, 91 was going through and screwing that up. They were changing Northfield Road, I should say.
Okay.
And somehow or other, he wanted to sell that out, and Bud Foster bought it.
Oh.
And for the church, and then it ended up that Andy St. Alea bought it.
Hmm.
And it ended up, gave it to the church, I believe.
Hmm.
That's when we were going to put an addition on. And we used it anyway. And that's how we got the money partly for that. And but the gas, it started as a tag sale, and Bud Treater says we should have a putt-putt show. Well, I didn't want any putt-putt show. And he says those gas engines are just putt, putt, putt. And run like that all day long for half a gallon of gas. And they had some up in Dublin, New Hampshire. I think it's up by Lake Dublin.
Okay.
They have one up there. And he said, come up there and you'll see it. So I went up with him one day. I didn't like them, but they did have a lot of people come to see him.
Mm-hmm.
So the next year he had it. And I don't know whether I think we had 3 or 4 that day, that first time. And then the next year we had 6 or 8, and next year it kept going and going. But then they got to going, so they had some bigger ones, and they
Right.
were doing something. Now they have quite a lot of them there running, but they don't do nothing. But they had them back then. Some would run a shingle machine, and they'd stick out shingles. A lot of them now will have a pump. They'll pump water and show you how they work. But they do run for nothing.
And that's how they were used on farms in a lot of different ways like that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And
Yeah.
they were used particularly to operate milking machines.
Okay.
That'd be the
Yeah.
thing that would produce the air, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And to run the milking machines.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and they were great, and it's been going ever since. And now they got they just bring tractors,
Yeah.
just regular tractors. And
Well, and
And
it's gone way beyond just the people that attend the church that make it happen, right? It involves the whole community.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and this is jumping back to the church again.
Okay.
When we put the addition on, like Fellowship Hall, we called it the community center, and there was loud, and we got the whole town contributed to that, and that's why
Okay.
we let a lot of the townspeople,
I see.
they can rent it out and
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
And Andy St. Alea, if he had lived, wanted to add a gym to it.
I see. Yeah.
But he didn't live.
Okay.
And, and then I got into politics. I ran for selectman, and I think the first time I ran, I got defeated. And the second time I ran, I got elected. And I was selectman for 6 years, and then I didn't run for re-election. And I was off a year, and I think I went on the school committee. I went on the Pioneer Valley School Committee for 3 years. And then another person quit as selectman, and they appointed me back as selectman. And I think I was on there for 2 years. So I had 8 years, I think it was, as selectman.
You learned pretty fast being in politics.
Oh yeah. What I was going to say was, I enjoyed being a selectman. It was fun, but it took quite a lot of time. It seemed like every year it took more because you got more involved because you knew more than that. But it did take a lot of family time. But what you learned pretty fast, I think, was you couldn't do things exactly the way you would do them for yourself because you was doing it that would affect the whole town, not just you. And so you had to learn that pretty fast. You got to rethink what you're about to do and do that. And I worked with some pretty good people, particularly George Wilcox. He was a great guy. And I think my first time I was with George Wilcox and Harold Coates.
Oh.
And George Wilcox, boy, you learn a lot from him. You'd think things, he'd get you thinking about this or that or something that you hadn't even come to mind that maybe you ought to consider this or that. And boy, you learned a lot. You didn't forget him. You know?
Yeah.
And he was good. And you'd have people come in and try and convince you and try to change your mind by offering a few things or this or that. And you just look at them. You know. We only had one guy that insisted that Harold Coates and I had to jump up one time and block the door off and make him pick up his check, blank check that he left there.
Oh,
He
wow.
was trying to buy you off. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but that was all right. Yeah, and so but I enjoyed it very good. I worked with Howard Grover and Wendell Streeter when we first started being assessor. I did. Yeah, both of them were good. And one time, Howard said to me, he says, "This guy is coming in complaining, Russ. What do you say we buy that piece of land if you'll sell it?" And the guy come in, and he said, "That land, I could never sell it for that. What you guys got to assess for?" Howard says, "Will you sell it for what we got it assessed for?" He says, "Yes, I will." Howard says, "Okay, then Russ and I'll buy it." He says, "Come on, mother, we're going home. These guys own that piece of land." And we bought it. Yeah.
You did buy it, okay.
Yeah, we bought it.
I thought you were going to say that you changed his mind a little bit.
No, and I bought another one the same way up at North Bernardston too. Yeah.
Were you on the Conservation Commission?
Oh yeah.
Once?
I was on that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
on the bylaw committee when we first
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
started that. And oh yeah.
And now you're so active with the water department.
Oh yeah. I've been on the water department for a long time. I don't know, really. Maybe 20 years or more.
You've done a lot with the water department.
Oh yeah, I worked on that. Well, in fact, this Kenny Rhodes, when he worked on me, he used to do a lot of the repairs for Bobby Deane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still on, which I'm about to get off all these things because I can't remember so good, and well, I'm pretty old. Can't do much, only suggest what you do. You know?
Sure.
Your memory is really good.
And,
So
Well, yeah, you're still contributing very strong, but there's an argument to be made that some younger people should be stepping up, I think.
yes, that's very much. And back when these all got going, you did a lot of things for nothing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Everybody expects to be paid.
Right. Yeah.
One thing we did do, we generally agreed back years ago, as far as anybody knew, we all was in agreement. Maybe you and I agreed, but there was one descendant. But as far as anybody else knew, when you left there, we're all in agreement.
Yep.
So that they can't pigeonhole you
Yep.
and start a whole big blow up going around. And so
Important.
it worked very good.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
good.
today it wouldn't, because somebody wouldn't be able to say that we're all in agreement. They'd say, no, I didn't go along with that.
Yeah.
And then you've got it all over again.
A mess.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and but it worked good. Now, of course, it's published. The newspaper's there all the time. You're talking, but
Yeah.
you can't tell somebody where to go when you're talking now. You know.
But you've done some creative things at the water department. Don't you have solar there now? And
Yeah, we got the solar system in, and I was instrumental in getting that.
yeah,
We got the guy from Leiden, Dan. Oh gosh, I can't think of his last name right now. He came down, got us going. We got a $200,000 grant to go towards it,
yeah.
and it's going.
I was going to say that we've covered a lot of community involvement, but we're not done because you founded a chapter of Kiwanis, correct?
Yeah, I was one of the founding members of the Bernardston Kiwanis,
Yeah.
which was in,
Yeah.
65 or 67.
Okay. Are there some memorable accomplishments that the Kiwanis has done through the years that stick out in your mind?
Oh yeah, we've given a lot of money. Like one thing we did do, maybe it weren't such a good idea, but everybody thought it was at the time. We moved the old East Bernardston schoolhouse that sat by Sheds Road. We moved it. I think it was John Callahan, the teacher, that wanted it for I think biology building, and we moved that to Pioneer.
Huh?
Paid to move that over there, and that was one thing we done. And we also, with Andy St. Elia's help, we also bought the land up where Kiwanis Park is,
Okay.
and with the pavilion, we bought that, and we wanted to build a swimming pool, and we saved money to build a swimming pool, but the way costs was going up, the cost was going up about double every year of what we could raise for it. So when we finally decided that we couldn't build that, and the town probably wouldn't take it over because it would cost so much to keep it. We donated $100,000 to the town recreation committee, which they could use the interest off them. And but if they wanted to use the principal, the town had to raise half of what they wanted to use. Like if they wanted to use $50,000 out of the fund, if they needed $50,000, then the town would have to raise 25, and they could take 25 out of there.
Yeah.
But a percentage of the interest every year had to be put back into the fund so that the fund could not be totally completed. Depleted, I guess the
That's a
word.
great idea. Yeah.
That was a good accomplishment, I think.
It is. Yeah.
And I was treasurer of that.
Because it's just going to keep going.
Yes, it is.
It's never going to stop.
Yes, it is. Okay, while we're still on Kiwanis, we did quite a lot. We make a lot of contributions, and we run a supper every year for the Ark, and we used to do a pancake breakfast for the Ark every year. But we run a chicken pot pie supper and give the money in honor of Lil, my wife, to the Ark every year. And we also donated a van for the Ark to transport the kids mainly to bowling.
Oh,
And they use the van for that a lot, and we used to take them bowling quite a bit, and we made different ramps for different kids that was crippled, and so they could still sit in their wheelchair and still roll the bowling balls down and bowl just the same.
yeah.
And we'd have people there to help them. And
That's
then,
nice.
Yeah.
so the Kiwanis has really been a lot. If we ever could add up the amount of money they've donated through the years. Yep.
It's great that they work locally, but also that local is including the community of disabled
Correct.
citizens.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
And right at the present time, I believe they're going to take on sponsoring the Boy Scouts.
Oh,
They're looking for us to do that, and so we're thinking of that we'll do that.
mm.
And
That's great.
I'm not sure that, but want me to go into taxes?
Yeah, you were involved in many things, but your wife Lillian was also involved in community things too. What did she do?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She was one of those people that you read about in the Bible. You talk about your faith.
Yeah.
Okay, that they didn't like. She was tax collector.
oh, Matthew, the tax collector. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And but she was tax collector here in town for, I believe it was 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she was great. And we had her here in her house back then, and she had to do the bills by hand back then, and in a typewriter, not all these printed out for you, and you just fill in the numbers on the computer. And yeah, she was 18 years.
Wow.
And so always somebody knocking on your door coming to pay taxes and this and that. And
Usually right at dinner time.
oh yeah.
But she
exactly.
never turned them away.
Yeah, she never. So we had one room that we closed off where she could use for the office
Mm-hmm.
when they come and do that. But they'd always come to the other end of the house. So you either had to send them around or let them through the house. That's all right. She probably got $500 for doing it for the year.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Anyway, that all helped because she was having the kids and she couldn't be out on a job because we had Nan until
Yep.
Nan got to go in, but we had to take her, pick her up and those
Right.
things. So
Right.
that was helping out with the bills.
Sure. Yeah. And she
That's
would often say to Russell, "Where's the slip?" Right?
Oh yeah, she did our bookkeeping too. Where's the slip? Well, you owe this guy this much. Where's the slip? Well, Russell would have to try and find it. Or I'd have it written down on a piece of board, and she might say these words and she might not. Once in a while when she had it with me, how in hell am I going to put that on a spindle?
I couldn't help but notice that right now today, sitting out on the counter, is a note written on a board.
You're right, and it's a telephone number.
If it works, it works. You just do what you gotta
Oh
do.
yeah, oh yeah. And then she'd always say, "It's the end of the month.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pay these bills, you gotta send some out."
Yeah.
I hated making out bills,
Mm-hmm.
and so if she didn't have the slips, she couldn't make out the bills.
Right. Yeah.
But she was a great bookkeeper.
Yeah.
If you wanted something, if you had given it to you, she could find it and present it to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One time, we were being interviewed by the Internal Revenue. I don't know, interviewed you'd say, or reviewed
Yeah.
investigated by the Internal Revenue. Lee and Deane was, and the reason for that was mainly is when we was able to do work for Marlborough College, our annual business would be about 3 times bigger than it was the year before when we were just doing ordinary work.
Yeah.
Well, then the next year, maybe we'll say, would be back down to little. Then the next year
Yeah.
or 2, you'd be up bigger. Well, they would look at. Well, I remember they was looking one day. This guy, he was a nasty little creature. And Mother was trying to keep me calmed down from his remarks and what he's looking for. And he was looking for one slip that we'd taken as an expense.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that great. I don't know, it was $350 some odd dollars, I think it was, something like that. And Mother says to me, "What do you think it was?" And I says, "I can't think." And I kept thinking. And I says, she says, "I think that sounds like that bill that you paid for advertising that was going on placemats.
Okay.
Some in Brattleboro and some around
Sure.
here." And she says, "It sounds like that." And she said, "What was the name of that outfit?" And I come up with the name I thought it was that come around doing that. And she went, and this guy, he was just knew he had us by the neck. She went out and pulled that slip out, and sure enough, that's what it was. And she handed it to him. He looked at it, and he slammed up his briefcase, zipped it up, and left. And that's the last we heard of it.
Oh my gosh, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Sounds like it might have been his first year on the job. He didn't need to be that nasty.
No, he didn't have to do that. Because what was it going to amount to if she couldn't find it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, several times in these conversations, your faith has kind of come to the surface, and you've talked about that. But is there more you'd like people to know about how important your faith has been to you, Russ?
It's when I got back into it, it's really been a lot to me, because I believe in it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I read the Bible every day
Mm-hmm.
and pray every day. And it's been a lot, and it was a lot to Lil,
Yeah.
and it's been a lot to this whole family. And my family has been with us, particularly in our faith. And my son-in-law grew my faith a lot,
Mm-hmm.
talking with him, things that I talked to him about that I could not believe, that I don't believe this, and I don't see how it's possible. That he told me about what it meant so that I could understand that,
Mm-hmm.
and improved my faith a lot.
Yeah.
And people within my own church
Yeah.
has added to that, and our family grew.
Yeah.
Our church family grew there,
Yeah.
and a lot. And my faith is a lot.
Yeah. And I've seen it, and I believe what you're saying right now. Yeah.
And my family is unreal.
Yeah.
And I want that to be understood.
Yeah.
And my kids are great. And
Yeah.
they always have been.
Mhm.
And talk, everybody.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
We had great role models.
Another question, we're zeroing in on some of the last things, but you've done things for fun in your life too, not just all this community and service and work and so forth.
Oh,
What are the things that stand out to you in your lifetime of the fun things you've done?
fun things. Oh, fun things. So man, we used to do a lot of fun things. We loved sledding, sliding in the winter, and going tobogganing,
Yeah.
and those things. Lil did too.
Mm-hmm.
But we loved dancing. We loved to dance.
Mm-hmm.
I love dance. Oh, we danced square dance and round dances. You know, we loved dancing. We took lessons, so, and we had a great time doing that. And we loved vacationing.
Dad, you were talking a lot about your faith development, and that has really been enhanced in the last few years. Can you tell us about how that happened?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I lost my wife, Lil, after 69 years, and I kind of grieved along for a couple of years, 2.5, just doing nothing. And one night I asked Drenna Mahaney, she sang in a church choir, and we was having a church supper, and I asked her, why didn't she ever come to the church supper? And she said, I don't like to come alone.
Yeah.
So I said, come ahead, I'll eat with you. And so she came and went along a little while, and we got to talking about a sugar supper, I believe it was, up in Guilford. Said she'd never been to one. So I took her up there, and seemed to everything build on. And she was quite religious, and she got me to reading Morning with Jesus. It's a book that comes out, and so I read that, and then they put out some things to read every day. So now we read, I read the Bible. We pray every day anyway, but several times, and we read the scripture every morning with a regular, whatever they are telling you to read in this
Lectionary?
thing, lectionary that the church puts out. Good at that.
You're enjoying each other.
Yes.
Having a good time.
Yes, we do, and we love each other. That part is true. But we both have families, and we both have houses, and
And the family loves having her be part of the family.
I believe so.
She's
Yes.
a very important part of the family. Yeah.
And her kids all take to me too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know, appreciate. And it seems that both families are pleased that we got together.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
We love playing cards, and we had different groups of us, our families, friends. There was 4 couples of us all together, would get together and play cards once a week, generally at one of the houses and that, and it was fun doing that. But we loved traveling some. We went to Holland and Switzerland. I won a trip through Lee and Deane selling appliances, and we won a trip to Holland and Switzerland, and Lil and I went, and we also won a trip to Italy and some other place, and Bob Lee and his wife went there. Then we won a trip to Aruba, and we went to Aruba. Been to Aruba twice, I think, and that. But we love to travel. We'd take talk tours with Don and Carol Haskell. We love them. And we loved dancing with Charlie and Madeline Page.
Hmm.
They were great members, friends of ours for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that. And their kids are still, particularly one of them, David, is still friendly with us.
Yeah.
And that we see quite often. And that, but we loved doing that. And we went to Hawaii twice. We went on our 50th anniversary, and my daughter is 25th anniversary.
Right.
And we went to Hawaii there. And what a time we had. And you think you know your daughter,
Yeah.
your kids, and your son-in-law.
Mm.
But you found out you didn't know them as much as you thought you did.
Yeah.
And you grow some more.
Yeah.
And I think that happens all the time, maybe.
Yeah.
But we love doing that.
Yeah.
And we went to Canada several times with tours, and went hella hiking on the glaciers
Oh.
and that. I liked it. Mother weren't too fond of getting off the helicopter at that time. We made it. And I have to tell you a funny joke about that, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's all right. We went on that hella hiking, and we went one day, everybody said, we want to drink some of this water. Are we going to go to a place where it's safe to drink the water from these glaciers and this stuff? And they said, yeah, tomorrow we're going to go to. So we went to this place one afternoon. They set the helicopter down in this, it was quite a good sized moorland, like, and a brook ran down through there. And so I laid down and sucked some water up out of the brook, put down on my, put my hands in the brook and sucked some water up out of the brook. And a lady says, and then I took and scooped some up in my hand and held it, and you know, you didn't get that awful lot, but you could suck some up like that.
Yep.
And this lady says to me, is that the only way you can get water? I said, sure, just lay right down there and put your head down in the water. Well, she did that and sucked it up out, you know, and she got her hair all wet in her face. And she got up and she says, is that the only way? That's a terrible way. I said, well, you could have used this cup that I got right here. And I had a cup in my backpack that folds right up to nothing. Well, she chased me around for a little while. But everybody else had a hell of a joke out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about hunting? And
Pardon?
how about hunting?
Oh yeah, I
And
went
fishing.
hunting. I've been hunting all over, hunting Maine a lot. We bought, a bunch of us bought, Bob, Deane, and Bernie Randall, and I bought some land in Maine
Oh.
and binded it all together. Bob Deane had it first, and then Bernie and I added to it.
Oh yeah.
And we ended up, I think we had, I don't know, just under 700 acres all told.
Hmm.
And we built a camp out in the middle of that. Bob had one started, and we added on that and finished it off,
Hmm.
and had a well, and we'd go hunting up there. Bill Pratt, God love his soul, he was a great guy with us. Great guy. He finally got involved with us and joined us up there. And what times we'd have hunting up there. And I went to Newfoundland hunting
Huh?
and shot a caribou over there.
Oh yeah.
3 of us went, and Bob Lee and Pop Starks. He was a guy from town, older guy, that lost his fingers on one hand, except for one, I guess. He had one finger in the thumb. And he shot a moose, and Bob and I both shot caribous.
Hmm.
And I went to hunting in Montana, and I shot a big elk, made Boone and Crockett,
Hmm.
and I went one other time, and it was either Montana, I think it was Wyoming,
Hmm.
when we took a side trip when I was down there and shot a antelope. And I hunted Vermont with Bob Lee all the time. Shot plenty of deer. We used to hunt rabbits with my dad
Hmm.
and Uncle Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved hunting. I could tell you a little story about hunting pheasants. My brother and Bob Lee and I was hunting one day, and I had a Weimaraner that was a pretty good bird dog, I thought, but nobody else did, because at that time it didn't mind yet. I hadn't got it mind, but it would chase the pheasants up.
Hmm.
One day three of us went hunting, and the dog flushed all kinds of pheasants, and those guys were getting the shots at them, because I'd been hunting quite a bit, and they'd missed them all day long. And we went over to my brother-in-law's farm, or he was working there. It belonged to Luther, Eddie, and Gil, and then we was going to quit. And we flushed two right out of his garden where he had some corn, and those guys shot at him, and they missed them too, also. And I had a brand new hat that I was wearing, a red hat, and I says, for God's sakes, I says, you guys couldn't even hit my hat if I threw it up, let alone those two. Well, out in my backpack, I still have that hat, and this was probably at least 30 years ago. Well, anyway, I put a stone in that hat, and I threw it up in the air, and those guys shot at it and never touched it, and I'm laughing like a devil at it. And what do? They shoot it laying on the ground.
Oh my!
And filled it full of holes, and I still got that hat, and I wear it.
That's great. Great story.
And that's enough, I guess, about hunting.
That's okay. What is there anything we haven't talked about that you would like people to know about what's important to you or your life? Anything that comes to mind?
I think we've covered most about what's important
Yeah.
in my life is my family and my church.
Yeah.
And I think that just about covers it. And I think I've had a great life, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm planning on hanging around a little while more.
We sure hope so. Well, this has been a privilege for me, Russ, to talk with you and hear more stories than I think I even expected to hear. And I want to thank you for inviting us in so we could hear these things. And I know that the people that are going to watch for years to come are going to appreciate this too. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.